I know growing up in a household where I was always criticized and judged, I was so hard on myself. I was my own worst critic. And it came from a compilation of after year of feeling like I wasn't good enough. So in today's topic of conversation, I wanted to shine light on how we can help change our inner dialogue. Going from I can't to I believe. Going from I can't to I haven't done it yet. I will try again. Giving yourself the opportunity to fail and then step right back in and do it again and try it again for yourself. But where does this really come from? The work that I've done has always recently been about diving a little bit deeper into our inner world, using somatic healing therapies to uncover more of our truth. So anytime a belief comes through, a thought comes through, a pattern arises again and circles back around, we can be more curious as to where this is coming from. And when we're able to be more curious and to dive into the world where it first began, we can then be able and willing to let that thought and belief go. The emotions that come with that belief are deeply rooted in our body. We are energy sources, and therefore we can store our energy in a way in which it holds us back from living and being and thinking for ourselves, our truth. And I want to bring up a quick story that really had me thinking about today's topic, which was the inspiration for this video. And that was this morning, my daughter was playing on her bed and being just silly and trying to reach up for the fan to tap it. And she thought it was a fun game. And I happily joined in with her with excitement and enthusiasm, cheering her on. But quickly, she continued to fail and not touch it. And I heard those words, I can't. Now, since she started saying these words, I will stop her in her tracks. I look at her right into her eyes and I say, honey, I don't want to hear that. And I help her reform her dialogue. I help her reform her thought, a belief that she can do it, that even though she hasn't done it yet, she's able to if she keeps trying. So I think that's really important, and it's a little bit easier to help train a child to think that way than it is to retrain an adult mind. Because what the adult has to do is, we have to let go of those old thoughts and those old beliefs and those old patterns that were constructed when we were younger. So I want you to think back to a time, when did you really hear this the most? Or when are you hearing that the most in your life today? And then retracing it back to a time in your life where you started to hear it. Was it typically from the people around you? So was it in your home environment? Was it more so predominantly in your school setting? Did you hear it from your friend circle when you were younger? Because you didn't quite understand how to choose your friends, and your friends were just a mirror of their own life, of their own parents, of their own influence, right? They didn't know any better, because life is one big mirror. But you can also think back to, were you in an environment where you were criticized and judged harshly for what you did or did not do? Right? So when you start to think about those stories, when you start to recognize that feeling that comes from within, when you think about how that person or people made you feel, then it is time to use your tool of EFT tapping to help release that story. And when I feel safe to do so, I will let go of this. All this restriction, all this constraint around not being able to, not feeling worthy to be better, being told that I was never going to be great. And I just formed the belief that I would rather just not try. But now I'm giving myself permission to let that go. And I want to create a new story for myself. I am ready to start believing in me. I'm ready to start shining. I'm ready to start living out my strengths, living all of the person who's inside of me right now, and letting that person shine through. Believing that I was meant for greatness in all areas of my life. Believing that I'm worthy of great health. Believing I'm worthy of great relationships. Believing I am worthy of great financial freedom. Believing that I am worthy of great fortune. Believing I am worthy of a great future. Believing I am worthy of having a great life. Believing I'm worthy of great love. And continue on that development. That is just a fraction of what EFT tapping would be, but it is cycles of releasing these emotional ties to that story. Reformulating your own perspective, what's true to you, and then going forth with that. Manifesting, believing, reconstructing, reframing those thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that you want for yourself. So really this disruption is not just about disrupting and then becoming perfect, right? It is a disruption and the formation of what I can see as these stepping stones that you lay out to cross a river, to get to the other side, to get to the destination or the site that you want to see. How do you want to see your life from that viewpoint? So I'm going to lay out these stepping stones, and those stepping stones to me are of grace. They are of forgiveness. They are of love and compassion. So as I step on these stepping stones to cross the river, I am not expecting perfection on the other side. I am going forth in my destiny of truth, of belonging, of acceptance. Those are formed through having the grace, through having the kindness, through having the compassion and the forgiveness. So these are teaching moments that I used through my practice and my practices that have developed and evolved over time. And I also use these with others. The opportunity to speak aloud and say, I don't believe that is true for you anymore. I think that's being a good friend. I think that's being a good leader. I think that's being a good influence. And it feels right to me to speak up about that. If someone says their life is really hard and it's perpetuating a problem, that a thought pattern or a decision that they continue to make to keep their life feeling hard or in pain, I feel that sometimes it is my right as a spiritual leader to help that person see it differently. So you, as your own spiritual guide in your life, if you are resonating with this message and you feel like you can do the work and decide on a new practice for yourself to really change your inner dialogue, to let go of an old story or pattern that no longer serves you and step into this new truth, then I invite you to do so. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to my news channel, where I will be sharing more of the discovery of our truth, the path in which we can take in order to unshield ourselves from the way in which society has molded us to be, a way in which no longer feels like ourselves, but now we are becoming more of us, and we are leading the path to be all in harmony. I'll see you next time. Have an amazing day.